Alright guys, I want to show you the log peeler now. One thing to note, as you can see here, the bark on a cedar is very long, very stringy. The log peeler is not very effective. It's not really worth using on this type of bark. So what I'm going to show you what happens. It's basically going to clog the end of the log peeler. So, and also I have here is a piece of, I'm not sure if this is a hemlock or a pine, but I think it might be pine. And I'm going to show you the difference. The pine bark is not very stringy and long, and how much more effective a log peeler is on a species like pine or spruce or hemlock and so on. So let's get the saw started, and I'll show you first here with the log peeler on the cedar. Watch how it's going to bog it down and get trapped in here. You can see here how it's kind of pulling, it's just tearing. It's caught all up in here, and it's not spinning it out the way it should. That's because the cedar is too long, too stringy for this type of a tool. I'll show you here on this piece of pine how much more effective it is. It'll work really well here. Alright guys, you can see that it's much more effective. It doesn't get all clogged up like it would in the on the cedar or any type of tree that has a really long stringy bark. So that's one thing to note. So anyways guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hack away at this pile. I've got some loaded up. I'm going to keep loading up and then I'll show you basically what I do when I stack it. Alright guys, you can see here now I've got a whole stack of them all loaded up. The next thing to do, I got 2 more logs there, and I want to show you just a couple more things. The very first log that I've got here, the big issue you can see here now, I've got very large knots and a few big nubs sticking out. But you can see how big these knots are. Now this log is just not smooth enough. This is where the log peeler and the chainsaw come in really handy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock off some of these with both the log peeler and also with the chain on the chainsaw. So let's get this done, guys. right, guys, you can basically see how effective that log peeler and chainsaw combination work. It's very aggressive. It's a fairly light saw, but the head of it is it's a light alloy here as well, but it's still heavy enough. It takes quite a bit of strength, and you do want to get a little experience using these things because they are very dangerous. The next thing I want to show you just right here is I've got a post here, just a small one for the example. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit on the end using the peeler. So come on in closer, guys, and take a good close look. We'll get this done quickly here. Now the thing is, as I mentioned, this is very aggressive, so you got to be very careful. It doesn't take much. I can chew right through this here. Alright, guys, you can see basically it come in closer here. You can see how I've sharpened the end of it, so it's pretty good. The one thing I did here is basically I used a ratchet strap. Now it's very important to use a ratchet strap to hold it in place, unless you have somebody here that could hold it. Well, we got a nice edge there, so not too bad. Went a little bit deep on the one side, but I'm just doing this quick for the camera, so could have done a better job. Alright, guys, basically what we're going to do is we're going to unload all the logs just over here. I'm going to show you how I stack them up. One thing before I stack them, I want to show you something here. Now, lots of times guys like to throw away crooked logs, but the crooked logs are very good to keep because you don't want to use straight logs when you're stacking on top of, whether it's for sawmill logs or for whatever. You want to put the lousy logs or crooked logs on the bottom. It's always good to use them. You can see, hopefully you can see that how crooked this thing is. This is not too bad. I've got another one that's even worse. You'll see this one is really good here. So perfect log for on the bottom, on the ground. You can see how much that bends right here. So if you look from top to bottom, I'm holding it straight. Alright, guys, so basically I've got a stack here. What I've done is I've laid out the 3 crooked pieces that I have. They're all about from this end to the other end at 7 foot apart. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stacking them. And it's very simple. All I'm going to do is going to stack the first row going this way, and then the next one I'm going to crisscross over the top. That way there's lots of air in there. They won't be so much moisture built up on top of them, so they won't rot. They'll get a lot of air flowing through, so they'll dry up really nice. Now I've got quite a selection of logs here. I've got, you can see a little bit, this is probably one of the larger ones that I have here, so I've got some nice posts, some nice rails, some nice stakes in here. What I'm going to try to do as well, as you can see, the small end sometimes will be on one side and the big end will be on the other side. I'm going to try and alternate them a little bit. Now it doesn't really matter if you come in closer here. It doesn't really matter if it's all flat on the same height. It's not going to make that big of a deal. You know, basically the logs, as I crisscross them, they're going to catch at different pivot points. So the air will get underneath. That's the more important thing. Some of these logs are really heavy, some of them are really light. But this is the tool to use. A set of log tongs makes it nice to move them around. And I don't worry too much if they're even on the ends here. You can see, basically I try to cut them all 8'6" and 10'6". Some are just a bit short, so there might be some 8'4", 8'2", because the logs were just that long. As long as they're over the 8 and the 10-foot mark. Well, there we go, guys. I think that's 39 logs. So the last one here, actually, I'm going to use this on the mill. This one's not going to stay here, but I wanted to peel it as well. So, well, guys, this way the wood's going to dry pretty quick. Apologize for the chainsaw in the background. Lots of work going on around here. So, log tongs, use them. Really helpful to grab the log, especially like this one here. Super slippery. You can hardly hold on to it with the glove or your bare hand. So anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, you can always subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscription button down below. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gelling Outdoors.